One. Hey guys, welcome. Uh, another day of football, another weekend of football rather, and we have the FA Cup this weekend. We're back to tournament apart from the Premier League, which United can win definitely. So yeah, today we have Arjun here with me, and both of us are going to talk about the game against Norwich City. So Arjun, what's up? What's been happening? I know it's depressing today after what happened yesterday. Let's not talk
Yeah,
about it.
man.
Let's not talk about
The,
it.
the the inevitable happened. I mean,
I'm more pissed
you
off
know
that
what?
they
It,
did.
it, it
I'm more pissed
it's
off that Chelsea won because I
right.
thought
We
City would
we
win
lose.
well
I
for
mean,
City.
it was inevitable that Liverpool were gonna win, but Ch- Man City losing that game throws
Yeah.
our top four
You know what's
chances
gonna happen now? Chelsea's
quite
gonna have the
hard.
momentum and they're gonna try and win most of their games, and that's not good for us. And that's why I
I
didn't
hope
want
not. I hope not.
Chelsea
I
to win
hope
yet.
not. I hope
Crazy,
not. I hope not.
but it's
Yeah,
all.
I mean, whatever, man. Uh,
What about our game?
even if,
You watched Sheffield game?
Yeah, I did. Oh, I absolutely, man. You know, I love Anthony Martial. You know, I love
I
Anthony
was just
Martial.
gonna say.
I am so glad he finally scored a hat trick. It's been eluding him for a very long time. He scored a number of he's number of times he scored a couple of goals, and then he's been brought off when he was not really happy being brought off. But it finally happened. He scored a hat trick, and we look like a solid bunch with Bruno and Pog.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how good was that game? I mean,
For the
Sheffield
viewers'
United,
point of view,
despite them
I
not.
think when we spoke about it before the restart happened, Arjun was pro Martial and I was not so much. So now the
I mean,
banter
he's
on
proved me
me.
right. Yep. And both Rashford and Marshall are at 19 goals apiece.
I saw that
Considering that
stat. The front three contributed 50 goals, and they're
50 goals,
sixth
yeah, yeah,
all over Europe. It's mad. It's a
yep.
impressive stat.
And considering that Greenwood has come off the bench most of the games, that's quite good. Yeah, that's quite good. 19 goals, Marshall. 19 goals, Rashford. And think about it, Rashford's missed far fewer games than Tony Marshall
Yeah.
has.
So,
So I
and
mean,
he had two assists as well
yeah, he
against.
did. He did. Oh, uh, I mean, how good was that one touch football, man? Just like Bruno literally knows where
Running.
everybody is. He doesn't even have to look who is. He just touches the ball, runs away, spins around, and just gets the ball and passes. Oh my God, that second goal that Tony Marshall scored. Oh no, wait, was that the third goal? The one with the
Third
chip
goal. Second
where
for him.
oh
Second for
man.
him. Yeah.
No, third goal for second assist for Rashford. Yeah,
Correct.
I mean, how good was that interplay, right? Everybody, Pogba to Bruno, Bruno to Rashford to Marshall with that beautiful dink over the keeper. Oh
Beautiful.
my God,
That
that
was
was
actually a very good goal.
very good. I
I
was
thought
so impressed. I
I
was
thought
so impressed.
they were very crisp in their play. They look like they have a plan while even attacking and also while in defensive
Mhm.
shape. It's good. I thought Luke Shaw had a
Correct.
brilliant game. He
So I was tweeting out of the Silver Devils Twitter account, and I thought I I felt at least the first half Luke Shaw was caught out of position in a lot of different things, lot of times where he was a little so you'd find Harry Maguire, Lindelof, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka on a straight line, and then you'll find Luke Shaw way up ahead. And I don't think he really contributed. I mean, he was definitely better going forward than he was before, but
definitely
I
he was
really
a
don't think
great option.
he was way too good, considering that he was playing further up, and probably it was like a tactic that you know
Yeah,
Oli
from the front.
used. But
I mean, obviously because
nevertheless,
yeah,
Wan-Bissaka was better defensively and offensively when compared to Luke Shaw. When you
and
look at
he
his
also
stats,
has another
he got the
assist.
assist as well. He
Yeah,
got another
and it's
assist.
actually a pretty intelligent ball also, right? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
So
Want
you know what the I saw a very interesting stat. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has a point 0.3 assist stat when compared to a 0.19 of Trent Alexander-Arnold when it's not a dead ball situation.
Yeah,
which is quite
improving for
impressive
sure.
considering that he hardly even attacked too much or crossed the ball too much in the beginning,
Correct.
first 10-20
Yeah.
games of the Premier League.
And I
So
think
so
now
that's quite
he's getting out a lot wider, and because also Bruno and Pogba are there, so there's more creativity coming out from him. And I think we'll see more of that comparison, and probably more credible comparison next season,
yeah.
and that's when we can probably judge
You
him better.
right,
But
and
I
you
think
know who we are
offensively, he's
forgetting to
definitely really, really good.
mention. You know who we are forgetting to mention that's how easy it was to forget Matic.
Yeah,
He was
exactly.
so good. He was so good. He was so clean on the ball. He got it. He passed it around. See, one of the biggest things we always said, oh, Matic is too slow. He looked to play always. He always looked to play the safe passes. That was because we never had Bruno was. I mean, sorry, Pogba was injured. We didn't have a Bruno to look for those decisive passes. We had only Jesse Lingard and Andres Pereira, who are not very good, and Matip, who's probably on his last legs, who's gonna come on and make those couple of really good impacts here and there. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and say Mata is really good. But it's so nice that Matic has a couple of people ahead of him, so that he can play that defensive role, doing that cleanup. He had a brilliant game. He had a brilliant game.
I think him and
Uh,
Pogba, both them, I think had the ball most of the time, and I think Pogba
mhm.
also was very impressive.
Oh, what about that? What about that one move that Pogba did when he dribbled completely through the
Yeah,
Sheffield United
yeah, ran into 4-5.
back line and just like,
Yes,
yeah. I mean, he literally beat like 4-5 people, nutmegged one guy, and Marshall hit it wide. I mean, I don't blame Marshall. Marshall should have been more selfish, at least with that pass that he made to
and that's
Rashford.
and he got the
You know,
first
you
hat
know
trick
what,
in
you
7
know what,
years.
you in the Premier League, and you know what I loved about Marshall? Right at the beginning of the season, right at the beginning of the season, right at the beginning of the season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had told that he wants to see Marshall score those scruffy goals in the
Exactly.
6-yard box, and
And
that's
I think
exactly what he
he
did. That's
mentioned it at the
exactly what he did.
post match conference as well,
Post
that
match,
he
yeah,
worked
yeah,
on it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's glad it
Correct,
came off. I think it was
correct.
overall top game. Sheffield
Top
United,
game,
I
top
think they
game.
were. I don't think they had too much of an attacking threat, if I remember.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and
yeah. They had one shot on target.
Yeah, so I think it was a clean game, and I hope that translates into the Norwich game. What do you think about the FA Cup coming back? So I mean, tick in, like, I mean, every 3 days we have a game, and this is FA Cup.
Yeah,
And think
yeah,
about the
yeah,
importance. Does
yeah.
does Ole go all out here, or does he
Yeah,
balance it out?
you know what? From what I've sensed out of the pre-match press conference that Ollie did earlier today, he spoke a lot of how he really likes the FA Cup, and he spoke about all of his old memories and how as a kid he used to sit there and watch the FA Cup, which was the last game of the season. So I can clearly see that he really values the FA Cup. So what I really think is, I think he will put out a really strong team, score 3 or 4, like what he said previously in the previous match. He said he would have liked United to have scored about 3 or 4 in the first half and put the game to bed. So what I would ideally see Ollie do is probably put out a really, really strong team and have quite a few changes. We'll probably go over it during the predicted 11. But I really see him play still a very strong playing 11, but still have a few rotations here and there where he can afford to have those rotations and not lose out on quality way too much. So I definitely see that happening, and get a few goals really, really early ahead, and then rest a lot of the important players and bring on the fringe players to close out the game.
Yeah,
So that's ideally, and let's not, and Norwich, who are fighting for relegation. Their only hope is the FA Cup. I don't think they're coming out of the relegation zone and staying in the Premier League next season. So they're gonna go all out against United, and we have to be up for it. We cannot field a mediocre team with a lot of changes and a lot of people from the reserves team into our playing 11 and rest most of the players because it's a business end of the cup
Yeah, but I think it's
competition
interesting
and we need to.
to probably think about it. Like Norwich is still not out of it. Like they're pretty much in the battle, not completely out of it. So
They're
I don't know.
six
I have a
points,
feeling that
six
they might
points.
not play their best 11 against United. They might take FA Cup as the backseat. They
You
probably
know what?
focus
You know what
on.
they did? They rested. From what I saw, they rested a lot of their key players in the game, the previous game in the league, and with the, I think they have an eye on
Yeah,
the
I think
FA Cup.
Pukki and
Uh,
Cantwell didn't play. They were on the
yeah,
bench. But I
and
think
Pookie is probably the guy who carries them forward.
correct. And like I mean, judging by like what happened in the previous rounds in the FA Cup, I think Solskjaer, like I mean, we can do a small recap also. So I think we had three
Yeah.
rounds. We had Wolves, a double leg over Wolves, and we had
Hmm.
that Mata run through and chip in the
Yep.
return leg,
Yep.
and
Yep. Yep.
we
Yep.
beat Wolves. It was a tight performance against a. I think we had Wolves like three games.
We
I
had a
think
lot of,
also.
and considering we had a lot of people injured at that point of time as well, so we had to field a not so strong 11.
Also, like probably
That
you know,
that 11 is so different
yeah,
from the
exactly. I
11
mean,
that we have
he
right
did
now. Yeah.
play Chong. He did play like a couple of academy players also at that point. Greenwood started as well. Sergio
Right.
Romero in goal. We're going to see definitely Sergio
Sergio,
Romero for
definitely
sure.
Sergio
And I
Romero
think
scored a goal. Yeah.
he had a couple of really good games against Wolves that time. His
Yeah, he
man
did. He
man
did.
save from that Doherty corner, if you remember,
Mm-hmm.
one-handed. That
Mm-hmm.
was
Right.
then I think it was the easy one. The next round, Tranmere Rovers 6-0. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
everybody, including I think
That
Jones
was a
scored.
good game.
Phil Jones as well scored. So that was something that
Philip
probably we can't forget.
Philip Jones. Yeah, I'm sure Phil Jones has played his last game for United.
Yeah. I don't think he's
Um,
going to start tomorrow. That probably we'll discuss in the lineup.
no,
Uh,
Phil Jones is injured. Phil Jones is
yeah,
injured.
he's injured. Oh, yeah,
He
that's what he
can't. He
put
can't.
in the
Yeah,
conference.
Phil Jones
Axel,
and
and
probably Axel Twanzebe might be injured as well. Yeah, so Phil Jones is definitely not playing. Whatever happens, Phil Jones is definitely not
and I
playing.
think the
Yeah.
last round was against Wayne Rooney's Derby County. So that was
Uh,
an interesting performance.
yeah, I mean it was nice seeing Wayne Rooney back at Old Trafford, but I
Yeah.
definitely don't think.
I think Sergio Romero had
Yeah,
another great game with those
great.
two
Oh, what a save he had off of Wayne Rooney's
of
free
Rooney's
kick.
free kick.
If you remember
Yeah.
that, oh, that was a brilliant save. Yeah,
I mean,
diving to the right and just like tapping
two
the ball
free kicks.
when Wayne Rooney was ready to celebrate. Yeah, Wayne Rooney was ready to celebrate that
I
free
mean,
kick. Yeah,
I don't think we would have minded Rooney
wait, I
score.
wouldn't have. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have. I wouldn't have. I
But
really wouldn't have.
I mean, it's
It would have
definitely a
been
good. And
nice.
I think
Yeah.
in that game as well, Mata started. We
Hmm.
had again, I think Greenwood start. So, I mean, I still feel that Mata is going to start tomorrow. We probably will see
Hmm.
Bruno or Pogba. I don't think both of them will play.
Either,
They'll definitely
yeah,
have. There'll be a
one of
point
them
where
definitely
somebody.
will play.
Yeah, there'll be a point that definitely will be brought on if the game requires. But
Hmm.
I think he's going to start with like since he mentioned Lingard in the conference, he's probably going to talk
Yeah,
about or he's going to start Lingard for sure. Greenwood, Rashford,
yeah,
James. I think Martial might
yeah.
be given a break with
James, yeah,
Igalo.
James definitely will start. Yeah, yeah. James
Igalo is
definitely will
probably
start.
going to start as well. Igalo had a double against Derby in the last round, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
he did.
Igalo
He
is
did.
sharp as well. I think he's going to start for sure over Martial.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
it's going to be a lot of changes. I feel it's going to be a lot of changes, except probably Maguire
Right.
is going to be the constant, and we're going to
Definitely.
probably
Yeah.
see Eric Bailly coming in.
Everybody, come on. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So, I mean, probably we're
I mean,
talking
do you
about
want to
this.
go
Let's
ahead
say
with
what's the
yeah,
ticket lineup?
yeah? You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So Romero in goal. He's like our cup goalkeeper. You know, he's played most of our FA Cups and he's played most of our Europa League ties. So I definitely have Romero in goal. And left back, I'll definitely bring on Brandon Williams and I'll give Shaw rest, well-deserved rest. He's played 180 minutes. Let's not forget that he's played 180 minutes in the last week or so. So I definitely give Luke Shaw a rest and Harry Maguire, like you said, Harry Maguire is definitely going to start, and Eric Bailly would probably start. Considering that Axel Tuanzebe, he said that Axel Tuanzebe is kind of injured, so definitely I see Bailly starting. Then I'd have and right back, I definitely have Dallo and probably give Aaron Wan-Bissaka a rest. Despite I see Aaron Wan-Bissaka just like being a non-stop train going playing
Correct.
every game possible. And you need to make sure your players are safeguarded. So I definitely see Dallo coming on for and Wan-Bissaka, and then I see McTominay playing the holding role. I see Fred coming on for Pogba. I give Pogba a rest because Pogba has come. He's probably played very few games since
Mhm.
pretty much this whole season. So you don't want him to. You don't want to rush him and play him every single game. Probably have him on the bench if required. Bring him on. Fred has to play, and then I definitely see Bruno playing. Uh, um, and then I'd have Mata, Igalo, and James playing up front. Uh, so I'd have a 4-4-2 diamond of sorts with Bruno and Fred, and then McTominay playing behind, and then Mata playing the number 10 role, which is kind of what he does. Or even playing a 4-4-3 with Mata on the right and Dan James on the left, or the other way around. You know, they can float and they can rotate their
Correct.
positions and play with
I think
Igalo
I
playing up
think
front. And
pretty
have
similar.
Rashford. Yeah,
Yeah.
have Rashford, Marshall, all of them on the bench if need be, or probably you know what? Ideally, I see this team definitely beating Norwich, but halftime if we don't get the result, if we don't score a couple of goals, I definitely see um, you know your Marshalls, your Pogba's, your Rashfords coming on and scoring. But I honestly wouldn't be too surprised if I see like a proper 11, the 11 that played against, your the
Sheffield.
previous game against Sheffield United start again, and then bring on five changes later on. After probably the first half, after you put like three or four against Norwich, save the legs for the next game that's coming up in like 3 days, I suppose.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think that's. I mean, fairly agree with the lineup. I mean, I was thinking twice with Bruno starting. Um I probably see Mata playing that role, and we have James, um, Rashford, and Ighalo as the front three. I somehow see Rashford starting for sure, and I don't see Bruno and Pogba starting tomorrow. I think
Yeah,
we
definitely
not on
Bruno
the
and
second half.
Pogba are not starting. One of them definitely starts. One of them definitely
I
starts.
think
And
probably
and
Mata or
I'd put
Lingard, one of them will start in the hole. So I, since you mentioned Lingard, I have a strange feeling that he might start Lingard, but I want Mata to start for sure. But
right.
because he might need, I mean, he has space with Rashford and James, so I think Mata is the perfect option to go for. And with Fred and
Mm-hmm.
McTominay in the back, I think that's a pretty solid lineup there
Yeah,
uh, to
yeah,
beat
yeah.
Norwich. And as you said, I think we have pretty much good firepower coming from the bench. Although Greenwood is
Right.
someone who I may still start over like a Rashford, probably.
Probably, yeah.
But since you mentioned that, like maybe he wants to show the first half, probably go out with a 2-0 lead, and then bring on the second team out. So
Right.
maybe that's Rashford or
I mean, half a team. Let's not joke around. It's
uh,
five changes, right? You get five changes, which
yeah.
is half of the outfield,
And that was
which
the
is
first time.
half
That was
of
very
the
interesting to
outfield,
see against Sheffield when he brought on the
right?
quintuple substitution.
Yeah. Oh, that was the first in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly.
uh, that was the first.
It was
And
fun.
that five-a-side would have definitely done well. That five-a-side would definitely done well.
That probably also
Yeah.
gives you an indication who would want to pick. Like he picked Andres Pereira, he picked Juan Mata, picked
Right.
Igalo. I mean, those guys
Right.
in the lineup against Norwich because that's whom he's going for the second, right? So
Right.
that's just
Right. I definitely don't see Andres Pereira starting. I really hope Andres
oh,
Pereira is not starting. I I
Ole
I'd
himself. Ole, I don't
I'd
know.
lose
What
my I'd
season?
lose my shit. I'd lose my shit if I see Andres Pereira start. Oh
What do you
man.
think the score will be tomorrow? What's your
Ah,
prediction?
I'd go for a 3-0 again. I see Igalo score. if Bruno starts, I definitely see Bruno score and probably a Dan James.
I think it's.
Yeah.
I think it'll be like a 3-1 or a 4-1. I see Norwich
I
somehow.
don't see. I don't see anybody score against us
Because
when
I
we
think
have
they're
Sergio
definitely better
Romero going.
attacking than Sheffield. So I still see that there'll be like a couple of chances and Cookie or
I don't
Canfield
think.
might score.
I don't
So
think people. I don't think people can score against Sergio Romero, the best number two
actually,
goalkeeper in the world.
yeah, actually, it's not. He's
he,
having a good
the
run.
number of clean sheets that he's had is just insane. Insane.
That's
He
not.
has some crazy stats, like
That's,
40 something clean sheets in about 50 something games, which is mad for a number two goalkeeper.
yeah,
Which
don't
is
jinx it. Don't
mad.
jinx it. Don't jinx it. Don't.
I don't. Yeah, I don't see them being too much of a threat.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, it's bad that I'm feeling so confident, but I don't see even if they go a goal
You
ahead. I
see
don't
Igalo a hat
see
trick.
us
You see
having
Igalo hat trick.
that's pushing it. That's pushing it. See, that's pushing it. What I'm saying is, despite them probably going a goal ahead, I don't see us being too much in trouble because we have the firepower in our in our bench to make sure we inflict enough pain to go through, beat
I
their
think this
defense and
trophy
go on
is
goal.
there to be won, and with City not probably in their best mood, so probably like you could have a good chance of winning the FA Cup. So
and
uh,
and us and Ollie thrashing Pep 3 out of 4 times.
yeah,
We go in kind of favorites. I feel we kind of go in
yeah.
favorites, and
Let's
I
hope
mean
we
Arsenal. Okay, can we take a minute to talk about Arsenal just for sheer fun? After that sheer poor performance of David Luiz against Manchester City, they
there was some
actually renewed his contract.
that's like Smalling renewal,
I
Jones
mean,
renewal rather. They did one better.
I mean, Jones doesn't even play for us too much, and it's not like he's on like crazy wages. These guys signed David Luiz on a 1 year contract for 24 million, and they've
Yeah,
renewed his contract again.
I think that's their next transfer window where I don't think they're going to spend much again. It's just probably Arsenal doing Arsenal things.
just Arsenal. Yeah, I don't. But
I was
you know
surprised,
what?
but I was
It's
actually
kind of
surprised
sad. It's
Southampton
kind of
beat them
sad.
yesterday. I was actually surprised that they lost because this was the perfect time for Southampton. They were in form, Southampton, and they should have
Yeah,
been
yeah,
beating
yeah.
Arsenal at home.
Should
But
have been.
I don't know, some
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Arsenal definitely not going to be challenging
they
or
had 9 or 8.
disturbing us too much.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
I'm guessing they're in eighth or ninth. One of those. It doesn't even matter. They're like, yeah, whatever. We should be looking up ahead of the table, not below. And it sucks that Chelsea won against Manchester City for more than one reason. They handed first things first is they increased the gap. They maintained the gap between us and them. And the second thing being they handled Liverpool. You know what? But I'm honestly happy in a way that Liverpool didn't win a game and win the title that way. They
Yeah.
had to see somebody else win a game
Yeah.
so that they could be crowned the champions. So it kind of softened the blow to an extent. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's my I think that softened the blow a
Yeah,
little
I mean,
more than
already
else.
because
I can't hear
the
the.
whole.
I already had so many Liverpool fans who are friends of mine who cannot stop running their mouth, and I
No,
am
but I think this break
so
helped
mad.
dilute that effect. So I mean, I'm okay. I mean,
I
not too much happened.
yeah, I suppose, I suppose,
If
I
it had happened
suppose.
during the normal course of the season, it would have been a little hard to take. But I think
You know
now
what?
after
You know what?
we,
I
we
was
all
I
know
was kind of
the
praying that
inevitable
the
was going to happen.
Liverpool, yeah, Yeah, but I was kind of hoping and praying during the break the season would be called off. Uh,
But it's good to watch,
with
and I think
them not being.
I mean we should just be probably. I think Ole must be burning. Like he must be like, oh shit, dude. Like
You know what I absolutely loved about Ole when he was asked two questions about Liverpool. He never said congratulations to them. He never said congratulations. He said it's not easy winning the title, but he never congratulated them on winning the title, which is something that I absolutely loved. I don't know if a lot of people picked up on it, but he never congratulated Liverpool on winning the title. He was just like, yeah,
yeah,
it's
he
not easy
actually
to win the title,
he probably showered praise on Klopp and how he handled it, I
Yeah,
guess, and not more like
That's
yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. But he never congratulated
yeah.
them, which is quite good banter, which I absolutely love. And that's what I love that
That's true.
Ollie
Ole Man
Ollie
United.
gets it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure deep down he hates the fact that
But
Liverpool won it, and
I don't
he's
think
gonna try.
he's going to do like one more season. I don't think they have to get like one more title or
Yeah,
back to back.
I don't.
I think
I
I think
hope not. I hope not.
but I mean, just to close off, probably I was actually talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying that does this mean that City sacked Guardiola because actually he's had a very poor season. Like I mean, he's still there in Champions League and the FA Cup, but if you talk about his Premier League performance, it's for 53, 56 points, and he's a 8 or 9
After
loss.
spending $1 trillion,
Yeah. And did you
or
see that
pounds,
Mendy error? Like, who's
City's
Mendy? How do you pay so much for Mendy?
50,
That's just like,
50, 50, 50, 50, 60 million pounds. 50 million pounds
unbelievable. That
three
you should
years
watch that
back.
goal.
Being
It's
injured,
the
90% of the time he's been in Chelsea, in Manchester City, and making those blunders. And
oh,
people talk about
yesterday's was
Aaron Wan-Bissaka costing 50 million pounds, and people have so much to say if United spends so much of money. I mean, that guy has spent $1 trillion and he's won what, one Premier League title,
two.
two. Okay,
Back.
okay. Wow. The only reason that they brought Pep Guardiola into Manchester City was for him to win the
Yeah,
Champions
but
League.
that was
And what has
it's
he
very
done?
important for him to win the Champions League. So, I mean, if he doesn't, I'm sure he's getting the sack.
I don't think
I'm
he's
sure he's
not.
getting the sack. If he doesn't
I'm
win the
sure.
Champions
I'm sure he's not. Yeah, I mean, you know what? From all of that I've heard from Samuel Eto'o and Zlatan Ibrahimovic about Pep Guardiola. He's a coward. He's gonna run. He is definitely gonna run, and he will run before they sack him. He'll run back to Barcelona.
League.
I am so sure he's
Yeah.
gonna run
If
back to
actually Barcelona
Barcelona.
are going to, they're looking at losing the title, and probably he goes to
Yeah,
Barcelona again.
yeah.
Never know. Never know.
Yeah. And the amount of controversy that's going on in the Spanish La Liga right now with
Yeah.
the
It's
number of
crazy.
errors from the from the referees with I mean
Who watches? Who are we? Just follow the. I mean, after Premier League starts, I've forgotten the other leagues. Just
I don't
probably
think yeah. I've just read the news and like
yeah.
I've just seen highlights and the kind of blunders that the referees have been doing over the last two games for Real Madrid kind of brings up a speculation, but I mean
Yeah.
that's not something that's too different for United. Us United fans have heard a lot from the rival fans about how United bought off referees. Sir Alex Ferguson bought up. I mean, really? You guys,
Somebody put that up. I think
can't you see the number
on
of good players that we
Twitter.
have in
Yeah.
our
Somebody
squad?
put that up yesterday on Twitter saying that Sir Alex Ferguson bought all the trophies. Liverpool won it on merit or something like
What
that
a
happened.
what a joke! What a joke! I mean, think about the amount of money that Liverpool has spent. Let's not the fun joke. Like Liverpool has spent pretty much the amount of money that United did back in the day. Just that United have been really poor in their
No, but I
recruitment
think they
over the
they
last.
struck gold with their fullbacks, and I think the fullbacks were very, very important for the Champions League and the Premier League
Yeah,
victory, and they were so
yeah,
consistent.
and Van Dijk, more than the fullbacks. I really think Van Dijk and Allison have been the difference.
No,
I
I
really
still
think Van
feel
Dijk and
that
Allison.
because when their front three never scored, you always see Robertson or Alexander either scoring or assisting. And always, they were the ones who were actually doing those special things to give them that that edge, or like a 2-1 or a 1-0
Mm-hmm.
or something,
Right,
to bring life
right.
into the game. So I think
But
that
I
was.
honestly can't believe Jordan Henderson's going to be lifting the title. Jordan Henderson as a captain is going to be lifting a title. How? I mean, let's sound. I no.
Anyways, guys, we'll watch the game tomorrow. We'll probably have another post game, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
Brighton coming back on Tuesday as well. Thanks, guys, for
yeah,
tuning in.
yeah.
Like,
Thank
subscribe,
you
comment,
so
follow.
much. Thank you so much, Nishit.
See you, Arjun.
This is a good platform for me to rant.
Yeah. See you for the game tomorrow, man. See you. Bye.
See you.
Okay.
Bye.
Tell me how good does it feel?